The Pitching Ninja Award for the Prettiest Pitch of 2021. Normally, when you think of the prettiest pitch, you think of something like Clayton Kershaw's Cooperstown curveball. Don't get me wrong, that pitch is one of the prettiest pitches of all time, but 2021's prettiest pitch was this Luis Castillo 100-mile-an-hour dotted fastball. In fact, the announcers for the Reds and Phillies couldn't believe how pretty this pitch was too.
That is an overwhelmingly awesome pitch.
This might be the most unhittable pitch ever. 100 on the black.
It also got rave reviews from Marcus Stroman, who said it was unreal. Look at that, that is perfectly painted. Even Bob Ross couldn't do that. What a happy little fastball. Here it is with a tail on it, but a pitch that pretty, well, it deserves a star. The winner of the prettiest pitch over the 2021 season, well, that goes to Corbin Burnes' backdoor cutter, and not just because he wears a Pitching Ninja shirt.
If I had to put pitches on there, Corbin Burnes' cutter would be at the very top of my list because I would very much like to incorporate that.
Burnes' backdoor cutter is a work of art. I mean, look at that. Hitters give up on this pitch because it looks like it's going to be off the plate and then comes back to catch the plate with about 4 or 5 inches of movement. And don't forget, he throws this pitch in the upper 90s, so it is a nightmare for hitters. Another reason I think this pitch is so pretty is you really have to understand baseball to understand the beauty of this. I mean, it's not like a big breaking curveball. This pitch moves just enough to get a hitter to take it for a called strike. It's that subtle movement that makes it so pretty. You can see here how fast that pitch gets on you, how nasty that movement is. Obviously, there are faster cutters. I mean, think of Emmanuel Clase with his 102, 103 mile an hour cutter. That's just absurd. And there are pitches that just have a ton of movement that are absolutely filthy. Think of something like Gratterall's 103 mile an hour sinker or Trinon's 100 mile an hour sinker. But for sheer beauty, there is no prettier pitch. And it's a big reason for Corbin Burnes' success. Here's an overlay of Burnes' cutter and two-seamer, and you can see why they're so hard to hit. They go in opposite directions, and they're thrown in the upper 90s, which makes this impossible. And here's another really good home plate view of Burnes' backdoor cutter. You can see why a hitter might give up on it, even though it catches the plate. Heck, some hitters just stand there and watch it because it's so pretty. Here's the backdoor cutter with a ball trail taking individual frames of the baseball on the way to the plate. I also interviewed Corbin Burnes about his backdoor cutter at the All-Star game.
Your backdoor cutter is one of maybe my favorite pitch in baseball. Like, I'm not shy about saying that. How did you realize that was going to be as nasty as it is? What adjustments have you made?
The cutter was something that I was still getting used to, and we went out, and one of our analytics guys that was in our dugout was like, "Hey, have you ever tried throwing this on the backside?" I said, "No." I said, "I don't really feel comfortable with it." I said, "I don't want to try to throw it backdoor and yank it over the middle of the plate, and it's a homer ball." So I was kind of like, "Nah." I was kind of against it. Didn't want to do it. And one spring training game, I can't remember who it was. We had 0-2 on him, and the catcher called a backdoor cutter, and I was like, "All right, screw it, let's try it." And executed it perfectly, like down and away, right on the corner, punched them out, and I was like, well, wait a minute, we might have something here. So that's kind of the rest of 2020 spring training, and then eventually summer camp prior to 2020 was like, hey, let's just try to hammer this backdoor cutter, hammer the backdoor cutter, and eventually it became a pitch that I could throw 0-0, 0-1, 1-0, 2-0, any time of the count. It's kind of something that I'm probably the most comfortable pitch that I have now.
Both Castillo's and Burnes' pitches should be in a museum. Hey guys, remember, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest Pitching Ninja videos.